Because again,
you can love somebody in that short amount of time.
No, but because again, I'm gonna tell you why. Because you don't know the person. You know what I mean? So what do you love? You love how they look. You love talking to them. You might love certain aspects of them. You might love their conversation. You might love how they laugh. You don't know them. So I can't tell you that I genuinely love you in that way, because they're not saying it in a way of like, oh, that's my guy. I love that. I love so and so. You know what I'm saying?
You know how I feel. I feel like tell them the caveat. Oh, I love the way you make me feel. I love
Yeah.
being around
Yep.
you.
I'm fine with that.
I love this moment.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But I love you, period. That period. That's too much. That's too much. The first week I met you.
Well, I love you.
Well, I love you. In a
You
real
love
way.
me the first week you met me.
First of all, that's a whole different story. Okay. We was kids.
Well, tell the truth, shame the devil, sir. Let me tell Hey, my loves, welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm Intisar, but you can call me Zar. I'm wigless today, but we still had to come on through and give you guys a review. And I'm here with my beautiful husband, Joseph.
Hey.
Joe, where are you today, baby?
We in Tulsa, Oklahoma today, and we got a show in like 2 hours. They just swindled us. They moved our set time up because I don't know. It's Sunday in Tulsa, so people ain't gonna be in the streets until 10 p.m. So we here though.
Y'all here though. So what that means is that we have to do this pretty quick. So I guess we can dig right on in. If you are new here, do us a favor and subscribe to this channel. We're talking all things married at first sight, light, love, and all things, that. So let's dig right on in. So this episode opens up with the boys going tequila tasting and the girls doing brunch.
Yeah.
Which I was with Alexis, and when she said, like, I'm doing the wrong goddamn activity. Like, what's up? Why the girls couldn't do something fun like that? You know what I mean?
Brunch is fun too. I ain't you not either one. You could threaten me with either good time.
Yeah, I guess.
Well, but I did think it was weak that Justin is throwing his shots out. Like, first of all, don't waste these shots. Just give it to somebody else, bro. Like, why are you throwing we're not in high school, bro. Like, you don't got a lot to kick it. Like, just be like, I didn't eat yet.
You could just be like, no.
I didn't eat yet.
Like, it'll
it.
be fine. But you know what? Let me say this. I really want to open this up saying one thing. And I really want you to screen grab this because this is just really how I'm feeling right now. The more Alexis talks, the more I might be the fifth proposal. I'm like really fucking digging her, bro. The more she talks, the more I'm like, oh, I like her. Like I just might needed to warm up to her spirit. Because it was, even though, I love F-boys, so it's not even like that's not a spirit that I wouldn't be aligned with. But I just been vibing with her all episode. It's been really making me like she's been on it.
I think, like we talked about one of the last episodes, I think everybody likes Alexis when they meet her. I think that was my point. And when whatever we was talking about,
but I didn't like her at first. I didn't like.
I don't think you.
But I didn't like her personality.
Well, I think typically everybody likes her, and that's why she acts the way she acts.
Well, I think that she has some depth to her that she doesn't, and obviously that takes time to open up and everything like that. Yeah. But it was just nice to see her. It's nice to see her kind of coming through and showing us a different side. I'm saying all that to say, Kristen is fascinating. So they girls sit down and they talk about where they are in the situation, and Kristen opens it up like, I'm not going to be like, basically, I'm not going to be a deputy owner. I'm going to let y'all say what y'all got to say so then I can have my moment at the end. You know what I mean? So all the girls talk about their where they are or whatever the case may be. And it was nice to see that Alexis feels like, yeah, I feel like he's a really freaking sensitive, which girls so do
It's
we.
true. Yeah, which is true.
And it's I don't think I would ever say that about a man because I understand how important it is for men to have a space to be sensitive. But as a person with a lot of estrogen, I too think he is very sensitive.
Yeah, my thing is with this too, like because like I said, I think that and y'all know if y'all have been with us for a while, y'all know I'm a big component for like let's keep the same energy and men are a lot more
Yes.
nuanced than public society likes to give. But with that being said, I think I still feel like everything in moderation, and he is just overly sensitive. Like it's too much.
It's
That's
too
my
much
thing. Like
too
I don't have
fast.
no problem with a guy being in touch. I think everybody needs a guy who's in touch and is sensitive because when you with a dude who is not, then you're calling him a dick and you like, what's wrong with this dude, right? So I
Yeah.
think that it's definitely necessary to have, but he definitely needs to sit down and unpack why he has a little more than the average, a lot more than the average.
Because it is a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. And even for me, like I would have been, we'll get to it. So they all talk about it. Lindy talks about her and Miguel. Miguel speaks about it to them, sharing an experience and getting a lot closer to one another and being intimate. And both of them described it the same way, which I thought was sweet too. Like, you know what I mean? Like he was like, I felt like it was like, what he say? It was holy. He said it was truly like holy.
But that's what they was talking about, a while ago when they said like, if you do have an experience with somebody and it means something, it can transcend the physical. You know what I mean? It can almost feel spiritual. You know what I mean? And so I think he kind of ironically uh he kind of put up an argument against himself because a while ago he was just kind of saying like it's whatever, like we could just sex is just sex and da 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 da. And sometimes it can be, but sometimes it is, and it is an actual moment in time, and it seemed like that's what they had.
I feel like, and this is being an analytical person myself, I don't do a lot of things based on how I actually feel, but based on what is my net gain from doing it. So I get him and I watch him, and I can see how people can read him as like not present or whatever the case may be. But I see him as being somebody who's experienced things with people that may not have gone his way. So now he's like cautious in a certain way. You know what I mean? So like he might
Okay,
not be
yeah.
giving her the emotions that she wants all at once, but he has to temper himself because he might go balls to the wall kind of thing. That's what I
Yeah.
get from him.
I can see it.
But they say that they're intimate, and inversely, Nate and Sasha said they were not. Okay. Now, how did you feel about how Miguel responded to Nate when he said, this was the one thing that I really like that he called out. Nate said, it complicates things when you have sex too early. And Miguel said, why? Why does it complicate things? If you have a natural connection with somebody and you know where it's going to go and what you're in this for, why would sex complicate it?
Which makes sense, and I think
It
there's
made too much sense.
yeah, it makes sense. I think there's a lot happening in this conversation. One,
Okay.
I think one, I see both sides of it, whereas though Nate is saying there is a chance that, especially at this stage in the game, everybody is not all in, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to shake the boat necessarily if we are not there yet. Miguel is saying, well, if you are all in and and committed, why would it be complicated? Which I understand that, but I think the at the heart of what Miguel was saying to Nate was Miguel thinking that Nate was full of shit, because apparently a lot of people think Nate is full of shit. And I think it was a little bit of pushback of saying like, you're just kind of saying this
Just to say it. You're
just
just
because
saying words.
you're just saying it just because you think that you should say it because you think that this is what she would want you to say.
Because when we go back to the clip, which I thought production was very shady for this, but very on point, you grabbing strippers by the neck.
Right. So that's what I was getting
So
at. Like
it's not
that's what I
that
was
you're
getting
not
at.
a sexual being, right? You're frozen, babe. There you go. It's not that you're not a sexual being. It's that, and I get him wanting to provide space for them to get to know each other. Like, don't get me wrong, I really do understand that. But I thought Miguel was on point when he said what he said. I thought I enjoy people who push back on people's ideologies like that, because sometimes people really just say shit just to say it. Like he said, what if we don't have the same vision, or what if we don't have this to have that, right? And the reality is that makes sense, right? But at the very end of it, the vision, the big vision that you did have was that you wanted to be married.
But
You
I
know what I
think
mean?
I know what you mean, but I think the meat and potatoes of this conversation was that not even Miguel pushing back on that ideology, Miguel pushing back that you, Nate, even believe that.
And I think you're absolutely correct. You're absolutely correct. You're saying that it's not about that one question. It's about how you've been operating this whole time.
Yeah. Like you don't have to lie to kick it. Like you should, like, we know we don't believe you. Like you need more people, bro. Like just say what it is. Like don't sit among us in front for the camera because you think that your woman will want you to say X, Y, and Z. And I think that's where
Right.
Miguel was coming from.
Right. So, Ben and Morgan, I don't really have nothing to say about Ben and Morgan. They stress me out. When we get there, we'll get there. But they're stressing me out. So Kristen tells the girls about what this was a chock full episode. I actually really
That's what I
enjoyed this
was
episode
saying.
a lot.
I
I did.
told you that we weren't able
Yeah.
to watch it together this time. And when she said she didn't want, I said, "Well, this is going to be the best." I said, "This is to
It
me,
was
this was
very
the
good.
best one so far."
Cause then
So
you got a real good look into everybody's personalities and everything like that.
yeah, but then just
So
real stuff was happening and real things were being said, and you know what I mean. We getting a little farther from the bullshit stuff. You know what I mean? The surface stuff. You know.
exactly. So Kristen talks about the situation with her husband Mitch. Now let me say this. I want to be real clear that I really didn't love how she talked about Mitch in this moment. Like she was like, the problem I have, Kristen gives me, you ever meet people who are positive but disingenuous?
Yes, I
That's what
see. I understand that. I understand that.
like something about her just ain't locked
Yes.
in. It's not grounded to me or something like that. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but something about her just doesn't feel right.
She has an air of disingenuous to her.
She has an air of, some people like to play victim too. And then so they can be positive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could see that.
So you already upset. Like my thing is this, and the other thing I wanted to call out is that when we talk about people not being attractive, this whole way she played this out is why people don't say it.
But Zar, I don't know if you remember this, but it might have been 2 seasons ago. But I literally said the same thing.
This is why.
I said the reason why people come on this show and they lie about whether or not they're attracted to their spouse is because they don't want to be demonized and villainized for just simply saying I'm not attracted, but I didn't because the one thing that Mitch, I think people throw it all into the same pot and there's levels to it. Like Mitch wasn't what's
He
the
wasn't
guy? He
disrespectful.
wasn't the guy from he wasn't a Chris and
Chris,
Paige. He
not
wasn't
at
Chris.
all.
You know what I mean? He said I'm not, I'm not attracted, but again, not only did he say that he wasn't attractive and that he was going to stick to the process because attraction can grow. If we believe that attraction can grow, why is he also being villainized for then being attracted to her later? That's my thing. It's like y'all can't have it both. Y'all can't say, you should be a part of this process because attraction can grow. And then say, wait a minute, you attracted to her? Just yesterday, you wasn't attracted to her. Like, what do you mean? I
Right.
thought that was the point.
That bothered me so much. Even the language that she used. First of all, I didn't like that she prefaced it that way. Let's be for real. You know what I mean? Like, you're a San Diego 5, which means like, Like, I mean, you're like like you're okay. You know what I mean? Like, okay. It's not far-fetched that this man was not attracted to you. It's not at all far-fetched.
Yeah.
And that's to be
Because
slow down.
this is the process. It's not even about you.
It's
This
not
is the
about you.
this is the process. Like you, like somebody, I think it might have been Alexis that said we signed up for this process knowing that it's a possibility that we wouldn't be all the way attracted to the other person. You know what I mean? So it just can't be every season like whoever says it, they're the villain. You know what I mean? Like, because he didn't say it and then treat you bad. He didn't say it and then like, you know what I mean? And then be a dick to you. He just was honest about it. You know what I mean? And it's like, do y'all want people to be honest about it? Because if y'all do, then y'all can't kill them when they do. But when they are honest. But one thing that I do want to give her kudos for is I do like the way she tried to protect her man in this situation, where she said, I want to tell y'all this, but if I tell y'all this, y'all still have to be Team Mitch. I like that. Because a lot of the times you'll go to people, you'll go to friends, you'll go to family members, you'll go to girlfriends or whatever. You'll say whatever you say about your spouse, and then they keep that with them forever, right? And so you as a spouse should know who you can talk to so that you aren't villainizing permanently your spouse in somebody else's eyes, especially if they're family members or close friends who this person has to see and be around. And then all of a sudden they're getting bad vibes and they don't know why. And it's because you said something to somebody who you really shouldn't have trusted with that information.
Okay. But you don't think that a part of her doing it is the way she told the story? Because the reality is she told it in a negative light. And then tried to backpedal pussy pop and say, oh, but we still Team Mitch. Because if you told it the way it happened, he took you to dinner, he was honest with you, and then he told you, I do think that these feelings can grow. I'm just working on it.
I 1000% agree. I'm talking about this action in a vacuum, separate and apart from Kristen or her story. Because this is just
I'm not giving her kudos for that.
This is just a thing that people do. And I think that just in general, as a relationship rule, it stood out to me, separate and apart from Kristen or the show. Like, I think people need to be mindful of who they talk to about their spouse for the reason of this person will hold grudges, or this person is not going to be team my spouse no more. And so we going out to dinner together, we doing holidays together, and they side on them over an issue that we had months ago that we done been over and solved. You know what I mean? It just was a separate thing that stood out to me.
I didn't mind the caveat. I just want to be clear that I felt like you had to give the caveat because you were telling the story with
right. In this situation, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so of course you gave that caveat because if they ran back and told him the story, he should be like, that ain't really how it happened. Like, you know what I mean? Or at least not how I thought I was coming off. But I thought when she sat down and talked to Alexis, I thought she got some really good advice because I felt that Alexis told her straight up, like, you have to give him the benefit of the doubt. We knew coming into this that this person may not be that into us.
Also, can we stop acting like anytime somebody has a whole night out on an island, on a resort somewhere where there's a lot of cocktails flowing, people taking shots and all of this, you surprised that they are amorous at the end of the night?
There would be no 90-Day Fiance if that wasn't the case.
The whole franchise would be gone.
There wouldn't be one. There would not. It wouldn't exist. One.
Like we can't act like.
Are you kidding me?
We can't act like we just can't act like this thing is only associated to bad, piss poor people. Like, oh, we had a conversation, but then a whole night went by. We had a whole
not
day.
Attracted to me.
Yeah. Like, girl, he was drunk. Like,
everything ain't nothing but meat on the bone, sis. So, are you kidding me? Like, he in a room with a woman. We together. So.
You together. He like y'all spent the whole day in a hot tub drinking, mimosas and champagne and shit, and now you're like, oh, I don't know. I don't know why you want to touch me. It's 2:00 in the morning, and all he been drinking is tequila all night. Of course he wants to touch you. Like, this is not rocket science.
But it's that, and it's the pounce. You see how the words he pounced on me?
Victim.
Words.
She wanted to play victim, like you said.
Words mean things, Karen.
Yeah.
Okay?
All right. How about that?
Words mean things. I thought it was very telling that she used that word because she could have said, I was surprised that he advanced. I was surprised that he was trying to, get something going. It didn't have to be negative. But then for her to turn around and was like, oh no, the ball's in my court. I'm in control now.
But she said, I'm the captain now. And I thought the meme. But this is the thing. I didn't even, it wasn't until you said the word Karen that made me go, oh, she definitely had a Karen moment in that where she threw some sauce on it. Because even Mitch said, let's be honest. Mitch is not the lovable member of this season.
Let's be clear.
So, but with all of that being said, he also doesn't come off as a liar, right? So even when Mitch heard the pounce thing, he was like, I did it, but pounce? He literally said, I think it was in the after party.
It was on the after party.
He said, pounce? He absolutely admitted to it. I'm sorry. He was remorseful. I understand. Keisha Knight Pulliam said, do you see how that could be confusing? I mean, he was completely on board with, okay, I can see where that was maybe off-putting. But then he was like, pounce? Like, I didn't know it was like that. But so that was the Karen moment.
But you said pounce so you could come off desirable.
Yeah.
Slow down, girl.
Yeah.
Okay, slow down.
You tried to make up ground.
And I'm not even caping for Mitch, but it's just like,
no, nobody is.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it. I wasn't feeling it. So let's talk about Ben and Morgan together. I told y'all I didn't want to, but they are part of the show too. And it's not because I don't love Ben. To me, I love Ben.
It's Morgan. Morgan rubbed everybody the wrong way.
Ben has been asking Morgan real questions. Like, you could tell he wants to really get to know her on a deep level. He does come off a bit judgy, though. Do you think he's coming off a bit judgy?
I don't. Well, no.
He asked her about the father or his situation, his family, and he said, well, I'm very close with my family. And he made it clear, like, these are some things that I thought were important when they were picking my spouse.
So it didn't come off as judgy to me. It came off as maybe a little immature, maybe closed-minded. I think expectation killed the cat, and I think he came into this thinking with a spouse in mind, how she would be, the family she came from, her financial status, all of these things. And they were right. I think the ladies were talking about when they said, when you come into this, just have to come in open. You really can't have any expectations of the person. They're going to be tall, they're going to be short, they're going to be rich, they're going to be poor. You really can't have any expectations because that will kill your experience. And so for you to come in saying, well, this is what I asked for and I didn't get it, like, so what? You know what I mean? Like, this is the process. You know what I mean? So I think he came in a little green. He comes off as green to me. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
So I think for me, it wasn't judgy. It just came off as green. Like, you got to understand, bro, like, regardless of what you asked the experts for, they wasn't going to show up with this picturesque, situation that's just done. It's perfect. It's finished. This is your perfect woman. Like, that was just green to me.
And I get even the fact, I mean, I'm so tired of talking about like student loans. Like, y'all better call Joe Byron
all of this
about
stuff.
These motherfucking student loans. Okay.
All of this.
And that's where I'm going to have Morgan's back. Like, when she pays it off, she pays it off. What I didn't like about the conversation, let me tell you, this is really, honest to God, when I heard him talking about finances and debt and this and this and that and what he wanted, all I wanted to say, like, listen, I might not be running in your pockets today, but I'm going to run up in your pockets. So she all sitting up there like, oh, I'm an independent woman. I don't ever need you to pay my student loans. You're going to pay these student loans like you pay your student loans, and you're going to like it. It's like, that's it, and that's all. And it's nothing wrong with being in a partnership with somebody.
You're married. It's not you're married. You're in a marriage with them. Everything is yours together. The debt is yours together. The increase is yours together. I mean, period. Like, you know what I mean? Like, wait a minute. Everything, but that's just the reality of it. The good, bad, or the ugly, it's all yours together. Like, you can come into it with a mindset of like, this is mine and this is yours. Literally by law, it's not. You know what I mean? So you just have to, but that's what I mean, coming in green. You know what I mean? Like, you have to understand that, like, one, I think it was immature to even make an issue out of that. But I think two, it was a thing of like, this is majoring in the minors. Like, this is not a big deal. This shouldn't be an argument. Like, this is not something.
I don't think it's immature to make a big issue out of it, only because finances are important.
I think it's immature to act like yours is yours and mine's is mine's in a marriage. That's immature to
Well,
me.
for sure.
You know what I mean? And so that's
For
what I was
sure.
getting. Like she, even where I think they both responded in an immature, like her
Yeah.
way to put him at ease was to say like, I'm an independent woman and I'm going to take my own and you won't have to pay for anything. And he's like, oh, okay. Like I was worried. Like that's immature. Like, you know what I mean? That's your wife.
But it's what it is for me, even to say that says that you come from a place of you've never been in a place where somebody, a man in any shape, form, or fashion, an uncle, a daddy, or anything has taken care of you. Because to me, if you've been in a place where a man is taking care of you, you saying that you're gonna pay, like, why would that even be an option?
But my thing is,
I didn't even understand it when
my
she
but
said
my
it.
but my thing is, I don't fault anybody for their background. I don't have a problem if it's never happened for you. My issue is that you're not open minded to this very new process that you're stepping into. You know what I
Well,
mean?
I think we say that, right? I think that's a nice thing to say, that we
What
don't
is?
fault you for your background, but the reality is only the past will dictate the present, right? So who people are in the past does in fact, or what kind of experiences they've had in the past, 1,000% affects them in the present.
Right. I didn't say it
The
didn't
last
affect you.
relationship, absolutely.
I
If
didn't
you're
say it.
treated a certain way, how you respond in a new situation with somebody you don't have, maybe a foundation with, will be the same exact way you would have responded previously.
Right,
So
but what
that
I'm saying
does
is,
matter.
I'm not saying it doesn't matter, and I'm not saying it doesn't have an effect. I said I don't fault you for that. Like in last season, the one girl, she didn't have a mother. Like that's not her fault. I don't fault her for that. What I fault you for is how you respond to that and how you react to it. Is what I'm saying. We can't
Right.
choose the like our history.
You
You know what
can't
I mean?
choose your
Like you
past.
can't choose your
Right.
past. You can't choose your family. If you didn't have a dad and you have daddy
And
issues,
that
I'm
don't
not
bother
faulting.
me
I'm
either.
not.
Right.
Yeah,
How
I'm
can
not.
you
So
feel
when I
about
when
that?
I say I don't fault you for it, I mean it. I don't fault you for it. What I fault you for is how you respond and how you react to it in this moment. And to
Yeah.
me, in this moment, you signed up to marry somebody who you don't know, and you
Yeah.
signed up. Forget the you don't know part. You signed up to be married, right? So for me, you
Period.
have to walk into this process with an open mind and saying, you know what, we can figure it out. We can share in whatever it is. We can work together. We can be a team. That's what I'm saying. Like whether you this being new to you is not an issue for me. It's how you
Right.
act. If you act like it's not new to you, then you're just an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I just, and that's not to say that I wasn't on Morgan's side. Like I felt like Morgan, I understood why she felt like she had to say that, because he was trying to make it like a big issue. But to your point, he's a bit green,
He
a
great,
bit
yeah.
green. Now, let's move on to the piece de resistance. How did you feel about her and the nursing thing? So she says she's a nurse, which I did my Googles because I needed to understand what it took to be a nurse in California as well. So yes, you could be a nurse with the ASN, but I don't believe you're a registered nurse. Like you could be a LPN, but not like a nurse
Here's
practitioner.
my thing. Here's my thing. And not
Okay.
to cut you off, but my point
No,
is
no, 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 no.
my
You're
point
good.
is none of this matters, right? The thing for me was, and me and you talked about this a while ago. You made this the issue that it is, Morgan. Because for you, if this is not a thing, right? For me to come to you and tell you, you know what, I need to get an oil change. So give me a couple hours and I gotta take the car to get an oil change, right? For if I just came to you on a random Saturday and said it to you, you would be like, okay, cool, right? But if you call me on that same Saturday, like, Joe, where you at? And I said, well, I had to go get an oil change, but I didn't want to tell you because, it's really not a big deal, but I just didn't want to tell you. You would be like, if it
Why
wasn't
not?
a big, if it wasn't a big deal in the first place, why would you come to me and tell me, well, you know what? Don't say anything to nobody. It's really between me and you. So that's what made it suspect to me. Because if this is what you say it is, Morgan, and it's just it's the run of the mill way to become a nurse. Everybody does it. She put it as 50-50. Some people take this route, some people take that route. If
Yeah.
that's really the truth of the matter is, and you're working as a nurse and that's the truth of the matter, then why was it this top secret thing?
Right, because his thing is, and maybe he didn't understand, right? Because he said something that I thought too, because I went to University of Pittsburgh, huge nursing system, and I always thought that if you got the only way to be a nurse was to get a BSN. I thought that was the only way to be a registered nurse. I recognize that there's so many levels of, like, medical professions, including nursing. But when I heard it, I thought the same thing. Bitch, you lied. And my thing is, period. I heard that too. And then what adds insult to injury is, to his point, you told the experts this, and y'all bust down and tell us what y'all think, because we aren't in the medical profession, so we don't know how deep this gets, right? But to your point, he says, like, when I hear it, you got one credit, that means that's not what you are. That's what you're working on being. You know what I mean? Like, when I tell people, like, you could be an accountant. So it's like being an accountant and a CPA. You can call yourself an accountant, but if you're a CPA, you know that this person is not an accountant. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So when you get your CPA, you be like, oh, so you just running around with numbers all day. Because if you're a CPA, you have a number. They can look you up in a database. Like, it's all these different things. You sit for your engineering. You sit for your boards.
But
you're in a database.
But can you work as an accountant without the CPA?
In theory, yes.
So my thing is more of, if this is true, then why are you being shady about it? That's my thing. It's not even about the thing.
Accountant, I still call myself an accountant because I was doing accounting.
Right. And at no point did you come to me and say, well, you know what? Don't tell nobody, but I'm still working on my, like, it doesn't, like, you know, like,
once you get your CPA, once I got that, it's like,
that's what made it shady to me. Because the way you came to it, it was like, Morgan, you made this a thing. You made him second guess what you were saying, because you went to him and said, well, don't, keep it on the low. But like, why? If it's no different from somebody going for their master's degree, then why is it a secret? People don't do that.
Right, because there's a fly in the milk.
Yeah. Where there's smoke, there's fire.
But then the tears. But then also, a lot of people have been saying, like,
Karen.
having mixed feelings. A lot of people have been having mixed feelings about this, right? I see it this way. I come into this process, I'm under the impression I'm getting somebody who's told the truth on a questionnaire. If I've watched this, I've seen people lie to people about their profession, right? So when I come in, no, I'm not a vigilante, but I am a bit like, well, what you mean by that?
Right.
Well, I'm still trying to, because I'm building trust with you too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for him to go and talk to another man about it, I didn't think was a bad thing.
It's not. That was just another thing, another way to play victim. Like, oh my God, you've broken my trust. I mean, it was a Karen episode if I ever seen
All
one.
he had to do was talk about your job. Are you kidding me? Is this your job or not your job? Because if it's your job, did he break your trust? Because this is your job.
It was just like this whole episode. It was very much Kristen-esque, can we say? Like, it was the whole thing of like, I'm gonna play this up. Like, I mean, I'm crying and my trust is broken. I don't know how we fix this. I don't know how we get, like, what? It was weird.
I don't get it. It was so stinking weird. But I want to move on to my favorite part of the episode.
Nah.
That was me clearing my throat, y'all. Lindy, Stacia, and Morgan sit down and talk, right? And this is my absolute positive favorite part of the episode. Morgan talks about the situation with Ben and how she's just trying to find a trust, and how it's really hard. If trust is removed, she can never get it back. And part of me gets that, because I was driving home and I went and bought myself some things, but I was thinking, I'm like that, where, like, if you in any way, shape, form, or fashion betray my trust, it is now my life's work. Like, some people be like, oh no, you got to forgive people. No, I'm a villain. It is my absolute life's work now to make you suffer. It is just like, I don't know what clicks. It feeds me. I feel full from it. So when she said, you know, like, she felt like if you do something like that, I would be, it's hard for you to get it back. I get her with that. You know what I mean? However, I thought that this was an extreme moment to be assigning those feelings.
Yeah.
I thought that was extreme, because she should have been able to see where he was coming from with that too.
Right.
But he was too busy trying to play the victim.
Right.
So the better part of this is that Stacia says to Lindy, "Oh, I wanted to know about you being intimate with Miguel because just the other day you were saying you weren't ready, and then today you pop up and you're like ready, and I just wanted to make sure you weren't pressured and everything like that." And I love Stacia, but she starts crying, which to me, I'm like, "Ooh, y'all really need some intensive therapy." Because you talking about somebody else's poom poom and you start crying.
And I appreciate it. I want to wait for you to get to it, so I'm gonna let you finish because I want to. Well, you didn't even get there yet, so go ahead.
So Lindy is hearing her out, smiling.
Yes.
Smiling, like, girl, like, I had a great experience. It felt like it was supposed to happen. I wanted it to happen. And we did our thing or whatever. But Sasha keeps asking, like, I wanted to make sure you weren't pressured because I've been in situations where I was pressured before, and whatever the case may
And
be.
she's like, "Girl, I answered you."
And Lindy politely said, "What I need from y'all right now
It's
is to
not
shut the
this.
fuck up and just,
Yep.
support me."
Yep.
That's it, and that's all. Now, I know it might trigger you, but that's between you and your demons.
Yep.
Okay? That don't got nothing to do with Lindy and Miguel. And I
Yep.
thought that I literally was sitting there like,
Yeah, I was really proud of Lindy in that moment.
the child was shedding tears, bitch.
She was shedding tears. I was really proud of Lindy in that moment. One, because Lindy, we talked about this a little bit before. Lindy comes off as way more soft and way more, much more of a pushover than she actually is, right? It's nothing stupid about Lindy, and Lindy can hold her own. Even though she's very dainty and very soft spoken and very high vibration, which I love about her. She's not an idiot. Nothing about her is slow, right?
Also, I love about her.
So I appreciated that she stood firm in that moment, in her feelings, in her convictions, and she said it with her chest. Because what a lot of y'all do is y'all will allow your friends, your family, whoever, to project their triggers onto you. And they'll sit down and they'll tell you, well, how do you, why you let so and so do this, or why you, and because you got an issue, or because we had a friend do something like that with us, where she was going through some weird shit and she got around us and said some weird shit about me, and it was just like, girl, that's your trauma. That's your situation. Don't bring that energy over here.
Inversely, you had a friend do the same thing.
Yeah, right. And I had a friend do the same thing.
You
So
know
it's
what I
like
mean? Yeah.
people will definitely project their
Yeah,
triggers.
like, we happy.
Yeah, keep that over there. And it is it takes you to put on your big boy pants, especially for those people who you love, to be like, nah, we good. Like, that's not our situation. Your
Yeah.
experience was not my experience. And so in me telling you what I'm telling you, I just need you to be happy for me.
Period.
I was
And
proud
I
of her.
think that, and I was very proud of her, and I thought it was spot on. And I think, to your point, like, we've both had this happen. And I remember us going through, we had friends that were going through something, and we were both friends with both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So they would reach out to us, whatever the case may be, because even though Joe and I haven't been married long, we have a long history with one another. So people do kind of seek us out for, like, just not even guidance, but just as a sounding board. And I remember how protective Joe was of us, that he might have been saying being a sounding board for this person, but he would never talk to me about it. And if I tried, he would be like, respectfully, we got to preserve our energy. Like, this don't got nothing to do with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
because you gotta have
be,
you gotta keep a boundary around your home and your relationship. And it's we talk about stuff and all that other stuff. Like, it's funny, we're gonna get to it, I'm sure, but Justin and Alexis had a moment at the dinner table where it reminded me of me and my wife so much, because we'd be like, okay, we do the same thing. So it's not that we talk about stuff. We're very open with each other, but you have to have boundaries, and we had a friend situation that just had become so toxic that I didn't even want their energy in my house anymore. You know what I mean? Not them, but just the subject and the way stuff was happening. It just was so toxic, and so you just got to protect your energy and what you talk about, and what you allow into your earlobe and into your spouse's earlobe, so to speak. Because like I said, people will try to, misery does love company. Don't get it fucked up. And a lot of times it's not even intentional. People, it's not even to say your girlfriend or your dude is a bad person. Like, you know what I mean? No. A lot of times people can't even help it, but misery does love company. And you have to be very aware of what the type of energies that's surrounding your relationship. Keep it up and on the up and up if that's where you at.
But the piece de resistance for me was she hit her with the bow, but she hit her with a 2-piece because she said, bow, bitch, don't talk about my nigga. And then she said, bow, your nigga's fake as hell.
Oh, she fake. Definitely did.
So now what? Ain't your man fake?
Yeah, she said, what about that? She said, what about
your yours? Man being fake? Yeah. Hello? I mean, do you even know him? You worried about me because we talking about what we need to be talking about. But are y'all talking about he's sitting up there, he ready for the green. Yeah. What about like you worry about my man, but your man is here. But you worry about my man. Okay. Like, and I was like, okay, Lindy, okay.
I started the slow clap almost like, yes, Lindy. Let's go, Lindy.
But let me tell you what was weird. I want to talk about the dinner. We'll back up and talk about everybody else, but I really want to get to the dinner because it was so many points there that I feel like we got to cover. And talking about this and keeping it on Lindy and Miguel, Stacia thought she was going to come back and hit her, right? But she was like, oh, well, we don't even know Miguel. Like, you so busy talking about everybody else and asking everybody else questions. We don't even know you. Like, what are you? Like, who is your, like, I'm sitting there like.
Yeah, and then the mariachi band came. Literally. That's literally it.
Lindy leaned over like, I'm glad you ain't have to answer none of that. Don't worry about none of that. That's noise. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, we locked in. We where we need to be. And even though her and Miguel had a hard conversation, I feel like earlier, but talking about like how he's feeling about the situation and it just being 8 weeks and everything, I think that's coming from a space of lack of love because he's scared. I really don't think that he genuinely believes that he entered into a law-abiding marriage and didn't expect and just was like, whatever. Like, I don't get that. You're a neuroscientist. Like, you know what I mean? Nothing about you gives that you did this with the expectation that it would fail. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I felt like they did have a hard conversation earlier. So for her to have his back, I thought that was kind of dope.
So I feel two ways about this, right? I greatly appreciated her having his back. I'm all about you. Whatever we go through in the house, praise in public, reprimand in private, right? If I say that the moon is purple in public, you better be backing me up. The fucking moon is purple. I don't know what y'all talking about. Okay, all of that. So I'm 100% on board with her stepping up and kind of protecting her relationship and her man in that moment. I'm all for that. What I was a little bit concerned about, and I'll just say concerned because it wasn't a big thing to me. But what I was concerned about is the fact that I think Lindy is the type to really go along to get along. I think she does. I was getting a little bit of, you might be twisting yourself into a pretzel.
She's contorting herself.
You're contorting yourself, in front of your man because that's your personality, where it's just like, oh, if he likes it, I love it too. Like, you know what I mean? And I think it was a little bit of somebody at the table trying to be like, Lindy, but you just said that you're not down. Like, you just said it. And I think that was a little bit of the tug of war. And I think that that's something that's in her personality. I think it's a little bit there. I think it's something
she was raised Seventh-day Adventist. Yes, so for her to be a people pleaser.
Yes. It's very normal. Yes,
that makes sense.
So I think that was a little. I was a little conflicted in the moment because I was like proud of her. Like, that's your man. Like, yes, be like whatever. Like, if he say that's what we doing. But at the same time, it was just like, okay, now. But at the same, be in touch with your feelings and how you really feel about the situation. And don't, like, you know what I mean.
I agree. I feel like be in touch with your feelings. I also do understand, like, not to come at Stacia too much. I felt like she asked the question that I asked in my brain when Lindy said that they had sex. I immediately thought, Is it because you wanted to, or
Yeah,
because he
yeah,
pressured
yeah,
you?
yeah. Right.
I immediately thought that. So it's not that I think that she said something wrong. It's just that also establish your boundaries, Lindy.
Mm-hmm.
Like slow down. We could talk about our husbands, but not too much.
Yeah.
Okay. Like
Yeah.
not too much. And I felt like that's all she was giving. So I appreciated that. But I do think, to Stasia's point, for a man to say the things that Miguel said on this episode, it's not indicative of somebody who wants a long-lasting relationship. But I really genuinely believe that's only because
It's a defense thing.
I you're not going to get me to believe you meet a Lindy and think you, Miguel, and I mean this with all due respect, but we all know Lindy is a bit out of his league, right?
He don't think that. I don't think he thinks that. I believe that. I don't think that he
I
believes
believe
that.
that. I
I don't
think
think he
Lindy,
believes that. I think he wholeheartedly in his heart believes that Lindy is like beneath him.
yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. But at least that's what he gives off a bit.
That's what he gives off, yeah.
But even him at the end of the episode was saying, like, I'm feeling like, he was like, I wish I had these feelings I have now on the day that we
Early,
got
yeah,
married.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
He said, it's no way I could have, but the way I'm feeling now, I would have been so much more excited. And to me, I thought that was like, I get that.
Yeah, because now you
get
know
how
this
he could
person a
feel that
little
way.
bit more. You know what I mean? So that
And
makes
I'm
sense.
growing in affection. And she needed to hear that as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like she needed that. So let's talk about people who needs to hear things. Let's talk about Stacia and Nate. Stacia, the more I watch Stacia, the more I realize she needs a lot of verbal affirmation.
She does.
She said something that so Nate was telling her they had the little picnic or whatever, and he says, like, I don't really need all this. Like, I like to chill. Like, we could do, like, this is great, but I like to, just do whatever we're doing.
We can do whatever.
Right, exactly, and still have a good time, which I thought was good to say. She said something to me. Nate has already established, I'm not intimidated by you. Like, you have what you have, you do what you do. That's great. She building a house. She said, you can come live in my Mammy Tanton house. What? Why you roll your eye?
I roll my eyes. I'm so tired of this Stacia thing where it's like you keep bringing. Do you want him to be intimidated by you?
Yes.
You want him to be intimidated by you.
I was getting there. Yes.
It's almost like you're offended. It's
that
almost like you're offended that he's not. And that's what makes me roll my eyes. I'm so tired of it. I'm like, girl, get over yourself. Like, you're an adult.
Babe, you're spot on. And that's exactly where I was going. Why do you want him to feel intimidated by you?
Because it's almost like you need it now.
You need
it.
You need it.
It's
and it's so fascinating. It's like when women say they independent, and then when a man treats you like you independent and don't come up, he don't pay nothing,
yeah,
nothing like that.
A problem. Like,
did you want to be independent or not?
Right. You
right.
Right.
You told me you was independent.
Right.
Like, so it's like, for me, it's kind of like that. Like, I'm getting the impression that you want him to be intimidated. Even the way she talks about talking to her husband. Well, I had to grill him. I've never like the word, like words mean things.
Even how she talked about it at the table, like she said, well, like I'm gonna, like he says he's not intimidated, but I'm gonna challenge him. He doesn't even know like how
I'm gonna challenge him to be intimidated.
I don't that's what I was thinking. Like, what are we what are you talking about, Sasha? What are you talking about? Are you challenging him to see if you can make him intimidated? Like, I don't get it.
Like,
what do you want? But this is why she's on this show, because she's cute as all get out. She's obviously successful, all of this stuff. But you are your own worst enemy, Stacia. I'm convinced that you do this in every relationship you with, and finally a dude is like, I'm out.
It just really made me feel weird. And I felt like, but even when Nate brought it up at the table, it really was a test in jail. Nate brought it up at the table to show, I don't give a fuck about that.
Right.
That's peanuts. Yeah, this bitch gonna let me move in. I'm gonna live off of her for a little bit. And I don't give a fuck. Right. Okay? I thought that was a test in jail. Like, she thought she was gonna checkmate him. And he like completely got her queen right on out of here. And it's like, because he was like, yeah, I don't mind. Even Mitch gonna say, oh, so your wife is building a house for you? He was like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
But she takes that as his indifference about that, because you're an adult and you should be doing grown people things. She a big age. She 36, 37?
Yeah. Like,
so you at that age, you should be building homes and doing whatever you doing, sis.
Yeah, but you taking care of yourself. Prior to the 3 days ago, you was a whole single adult. You should be taking care of yourself.
That's my point.
I don't know why you
Exactly.
need flowers for that.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was really fascinating. Also, let's pause. Was it hot outside or was it cold outside? She has on a sleeveless top. He has on a turtleneck.
Which,
Explain it to me. You know what I mean? I was sitting there like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, what's going on?
I don't know.
But
I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know.
very, very fascinating. Let's talk about Morgan and Ben at the table. Morgan sitting there telling him, when I come home, don't talk to me. Make sure your dinner is cooked. I don't want nothing to do with you. If you didn't hit me between 9 and 5, do not hit me at 5:15, 5:01, 5:03. I'm done. I don't need nobody who needy. Girl,
This was
who
embarrassing.
hurt you?
This was
Who hurt
embarrassing.
you?
And let me tell you who this was embarrassing for the most. And it's not Ben, and it's not even Morgan. It's y'all experts. Dr. Pepper, Pastor Cow, whoever else. I don't know whoever else is a part of the process, but it's y'all. Because from sitting down with these people, you can pick a Morgan out in 10, 15 minutes. You can pick that person out. And when you see that person, you should take them, pick them up, and drop them right over here. You know what I mean? You should never pair somebody who comes into this process thinking, when I come home, you just need to stay out my way.
Could you believe she even fixed her mouth to say that?
It really
Did
blew.
you and your big self get you're married, right?
You're married. You're a whole married woman. And to think that because of your job, when you leave work, you now are off the clock for any and all other responsibilities that wait for you at home. That is crazy to me, and it's scary for Ben. Like I'm frightened. I'm frightful for Ben, and also because Ben is he also has a little bit of Lindy's get along, go along spirit. Cause he like, okay, like, you know what I mean? And people at the table are like, you need to advocate for yourself, bro. Like what's happening? Like
They like, so where do he fit in it?
where does he fit in that? Like where does your husband?
She said,
fit
get
in
in where he fit in.
Literally.
Like, I got 30-minute lunch break. He better hit me then. I don't know what to tell y'all.
That is just wild to me. Like, God forbid you become a mother. What happens then? The children
She don't
just
want
starve?
to.
Like,
She don't
but
want
does
to.
Ben know that? Because they all about building big families over there. Okay. That's what we do know. They are like.
I was really outdone, but I did think it was cute how Alexis and Justin was at the opposite end of the table.
That was
she
us.
Like,
Because that's how
did
we
she want a husband or a roommate? We really do that shit all the time. Like,
listen, what is happening?
What is happening? All the time. So it was telling to see where their relationship is going.
Yeah.
Because you got to have a certain amount
of close. Yep. You got to have a certain amount of closeness, because at that point you're no longer husband and wife. Y'all friends. Y'all low key. Y'all low key girlfriends. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like for real. Let me tell you, I've had moments where I almost call my wife the B word, and not in a negative way. Cause just that was the vibe of the that was the vibe of the moment. Like I called her, I'm like, bitch. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but we got years in. So to see them do that is it was a big positive. I give more weight to that type of interaction than seeing anybody kiss or hug or have sex and all of that.
I agree. I thought it was really funny because she was like, am I wrong? He like, no, you're not wrong.
He like, no. But he trying not to break faith. He like, right. No, cool. But if I do too much engaging, they're gonna look at us.
They're gonna know we talking about y'all. It was the cutest thing to me. So it was nice. It was sad for Ben. Even Ben was like, sis, don't you go to the gym 25-8? How you go to the gym 25-8 and then you gonna tell me I need to
all of that? You go to work, then you got kickboxing on the weekends, and then you do whatever the Muay Thai thing is or whatever. Like, when is like I don't get it.
I don't get it. I do not. But on the after show, she said that because they had just come off their fight or whatever the case may be. But still, I thought that was stupid.
It still was, but still, I believe that she believes that. I don't. That wasn't no fly by night statement. She believes that.
I agree.
She believes that.
1,000%. This is the same girl who walked herself down the aisle and then had a speech about walking down the aisle.
She believes
like I'm independent and I don't need nobody.
Wholeheartedly. When she said, "Well, I'm a nurse, so I take care of people all day. I'm not coming home to take care of people," she believed that. She meant that.
And I want to give her the benefit of the doubt because I have a thing where I make decisions all day long. So when it comes to the end of my day, I'm like kind of decisioned out. And I've been like, me and Joe been having this thing because Joe just will go along and get along. He got that a little bit in his spirit too, where I'll be like, well, what do you want for dinner? He's like, whatever you want. I'll be ready to whoop.
But it don't,
I
but listen, it only be because Joe, if anybody asks you about me, I'm very opinionated. I like we could be talking about the
Yeah.
colors on the wall. We could have a whole debate with me on the palettes. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's one thing. Like me or love me, that's one thing. It makes me very conversational because I can talk to you about anything, but it might be fucking annoying to some people. So in my older age, I try to temper it down and I try not to have a strong stance on everything because in reality I do. And sometimes so when we had a conversation about this a while ago, but so I was doing it in my own marriage I tried to take my foot off the gas. So stuff that really didn't burn for me inside, I would just be like, I'm just defer to you because I got to pick my spots. You know what I'm saying? So, and I do it in my work life. So I don't overpower people with my opinions. I don't want to be that guy. Like, you know what I mean? So I do it in my work life. And what I was doing was I was bringing it home. And she one day was just like, I don't need you to do that. Like, just pick one. Like, you know what I mean?
Right,
but I was doing it. I'm like, whatever you want to do. Cause otherwise it'll be like, I'll pick this. I'll pick what we watch. I'll pick what we eat. I'll pick I'll be picking all day. So I'm like, tell me when to stop picking.
Right. And I think there's something to that. So I understood her when she said, like, I can't come home. Like, because I think there's something to saying I can't come home and feel like I have to take care of somebody, right? But I think that's the warped way that she looks at marriage. That you're taking care of somebody as opposed to engaging with your person. Like, those are two different things. Like,
right.
I cook, and is it taking care of my husband? Yes. But it's also a moment that I get to engage with him. I'm doing something I love to do. And we get to have this moment with each other at the end of our night. It might be taxing for me to do it, the actual task, but I recognize that the experience is what we're getting out of it. You know what I mean?
But not only that, y'all, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. We are all big adults at this point in life, operating and entering into these big assignments, right? Being a wife, being a husband, being a parent, right? You're going to have to do things for your child, for your spouse that you do not feel like doing. Period. So it's very childish. It's a childish way of thinking to go, because I don't feel like doing it, I'm not doing it. That's childish. And if you do that, you're gonna fail. You know what I mean? And that's just the end of the day. There's plenty of parents who've been very vocal about the fact that I don't feel like getting up at 3 a.m. and breastfeeding, but I have to do that. I don't feel like if the baby is crying and nobody's home, I don't feel like I got to work in the morning. So you can very much be 1,000% right and legitimate in your reasoning. Well, I have to work at 6 a.m. So I don't want to get up and make sure that the baby's okay at 4 a.m. It doesn't matter. You have to do it. You're an adult. You're a parent. Right. You know what I mean? So I really, it's time out for all of that. Like, sometimes you have to, there are things that you just go, all right, I got to do this for my spouse. Period. That's just a part of being in these big roles of marriage and parenthood and all of that thing. So just for her to speak the way she did just felt very childish to me.
It felt childish, and it also made me think, just based on you lying about being a nurse. I'm saying this because it's alleged.
Yeah.
Did you lie about wanting to have a husband?
Right.
Because
you sound like you did.
A relationship is not what it sounds like you want. It just sounds like you want somebody to split the bills and hire you at San Diego.
Yeah. You want somebody to go on dates with.
I don't even think she want to date. Because she never even said anything about that. Like, you didn't even make room to date.
Yeah, you didn't. She didn't.
You know what I mean? Like, it just was fascinating. It was fascinating. And I don't want to come down too hard on Morgan. Like, I know
we're not. Everything we said is completely legitimate. I mean that. I mean that everything we said needed to be said, and I was thinking it during the episode. Like, this is crazy. Period. It crazy.
Really weird. It was really weird, but not more weird than Justin crying.
Oh, y'all.
And I want to end with this, and it's not even. I'm not.
I didn't see it coming. But guess who did see it coming? Alexis. Which speaks to how they a little bit more in tune than the rest. Because when she started speaking to him in the bathroom, you ever see somebody talking to somebody and think like, why are you fishing? Like it's like when somebody say, you mad? Are you mad? Are you mad? And it's like you're gonna make him mad by constantly asking him, is he
But she
mad?
could feel his
She was
energy.
not. She knew she could feel his energy, and so she immediately started speaking to whatever it was that she knew was in the room, and
Which is
it
why
broke.
I'm loving her.
Yeah. It was
I'm loving her.
yeah, but it broke him. Like he was just like oh man, because it's
It
my
broke
friend.
him.
But yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like she all she did was tap the egg, and the egg cracked because it was about to crack anyway.
I'm having trouble with this, and I'm not gonna lie, because part of me feels like I'm really, really all for it. I really don't have any problem with a man being emotional and having emotional moments. I felt that way about Elijah. Last season, I felt like he was entitled to have certain emotional moments. You know what I mean? And he might have been on a different end of the spectrum, and Justin is over here. But
I wasn't
you know what it is
expecting
for
that.
me? If we just talk about, like, remove the names, this man is crying about another man in his relationship.
That he
Y'all
just
see how
met.
weird that
That he
sounds?
just met though. Like let's that the biggest
Caveat
caveat.
it.
The biggest caveat is that he just met this man days ago. This is
And
not
that
his
was Stacia
brother.
face, like,
Yeah, like this is not his brother. This is not his best friend from high school. This is a guy who he just met. So that is really a big issue for your therapist. Y'all have to sit him down and unpill whatever this thing is that got a hold of him. Then because it's one thing that I get it. It's one thing to simply be an empath. My wife is an empath, so I get it. Like
yeah,
being watching certain stuff and witnessing certain stuff, I could feel when we leave a certain thing and it's weighing on her. I could feel it weighing on her. You know what I mean? But it's another thing for every little
sorry.
thing. It's a it's one thing for every little thing to be able to bring you into its space. It don't matter what it is. It's like, damn, everything. You just shake a homeless guy's hand and you right on the spot you cry because he's homeless. Like it's just like everything, and he's just like he is just an open. He's a net, and you can't walk around into the world catching everybody's shit.
Yeah,
Which is what Alexis was saying to him, where she was dead on. You know what I mean?
spot.
She was spot on.
I thought that she was, but that to me, like getting to see, she gave herself a bad rap. I feel like in the beginning, like she described herself in a way that I felt like didn't give her credit.
Mm.
Because the more we've gotten to know her, I feel like she is just dynamic
Mm-hmm.
in a way that I certainly appreciate it. And the bitch looks so good in lime green, like Lord Jesus,
She looked amazing in that dress. She did.
amazing. I was like, ah, yes, like legs and hips and body, yada 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 yada. I loved it. But my thing is, I just feel for her. I really do. Like, I'm not a big crier unless I'm like, I gotta be depleted. And it's funny because I was thinking about this today too. I'm going through my own journey of anxiety and depression right now, and how I've been like dealing with that and watching certain things and not being able to watch certain things because it triggers me in a way or whatever the case may be. But I'm watching him and I'm just like, and this sounds so bad from somebody who's, clinically depressed. I'm watching him like, what the fuck is you crying? Ah! I was so annoyed. So I'm
Yeah.
like, and that's so terrible because I go through my own bouts or whatever where I could cry for days and just be up under the covers, but
But it's just the
so terrible.
extent that we see with him. It's just like it's because it's so much. It's so much, and at a short. I mean, it could be the smallest thing. I get why it just makes people go like, bro, you are doing too much. But I did like that Alexis was giving him a little bit of, I want to say she gave him he seems like he needs a little bit of sauce, like he needs a little bit, like he needs
Yes.
to, and she gave him it.
Oh,
Yeah. And I did
yeah.
like that she gave him something in the bathroom. I did like that
Yeah.
she told him, like, the way she makes him feel, I could tell, like when she's flirting with him and when she's giving him a little bit of like, yeah, like I love you or whatever, you know what I mean? Like that is nice to see.
It's nice to see, but I love you.
I mean,
Whatever
You know
works.
how I feel about it. Yeah, whatever works.
How you feel about it?
I just y'all just met each other yesterday, so for me, it's just like it's over. It's too much.
You
Because
don't think you
again,
can love somebody in that short amount of time?
no, but because again, I'm gonna tell you why. Because you don't know the person. You know what I mean. So what do you love? You love how they look. You love talking to them. You might love certain aspects of them. You might love their conversation. You might love how they laugh. You might love how they look. But you don't know them. You don't know them. So I can't tell you that I genuinely love you in that way, because they're not saying it in a way of like, oh, that's my guy. I love that. I love so and so, or I love the way this hotel looks. Like, you can't, when you say it in the manner that they're saying it, there has to be knowledge of the person. Y'all don't know these people.
Yeah.
And y'all on vacation. Y'all not even having real conversations. You know what I mean? So to me, it's just it's worrisome, because everything in moderation. When you going too fast, too soon, it's not good, no matter what it is. You
I
know
don't
what I'm
know.
saying?
I don't. You know how I feel. I feel like tell them the caveat. Oh, I love the way you make me feel. I love
Yeah.
being around
Yep.
you.
I'm fine with
I
that.
love this moment.
I'm
I'm
fine with
with
that.
that. I'm with
I'm
you
fine with that.
expressing that and being,
Yeah, I'm fine with that. But
I get
I
it.
love you, period. That period. That's too much. Not that's too much
Well,
the first week I met you.
well, I love you.
Well, I love you. In a
And you
real
love me
way.
the first week you met me.
First of all, that's a whole different story. Okay. We was kids.
Well, tell the truth and shame the devil, sir. Let me stop. Well, that's it. That's all we have for you today. My husband got to go to work. If you have not already, do us a favor. Let us know how you've been feeling about this. We love when y'all comment, like bit by bit by bit. It really is my favorite thing. I love
Yeah, I could
waking
tell
up,
some people are commenting it as they watch it, which
and
is
I
dope.
love
Like,
it. I
yeah.
love it. So we appreciate that, Jen. You always come through. We want to call you out. And call the rest of you in, okay? And make sure you subscribe to this meme channel. We got some stuff going on. We might have to try and watch Indian Matchmaker. That's my shit. So we might have to try and
Yeah,
watch
it's
it on
back.
the go. We might have
I
to.
mean, yeah, but as long as we go, I just be wanting to watch it together. Like, I don't be like, you know what I mean? Like how we did the last
Well,
marriage.
that's your problem, not mine.
What you mean? That's we
You
do
on
it.
the road. I'm not.
No, we could still watch it together like we watched Married at First Sight together.
Oh no. I agree.
That's what I'm saying.
Sorry. All right.
Yeah.
I got a battery in my back. If y'all have not already, drop down, subscribe to this meme channel, hit the bell for anything new, and let us know how y'all felt about Married at First Sight, okay? Getting saved by the mariachi beans. And we'll see you beautiful mother jumpers later. Bye.